You want some of that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever, think, about reality, yeah?
Oh, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah. What if, our perception of reality is different from how things actually are, right?
Oh, is this like how maybe I see a colour and you see the same colour, but you see a different colour when you see that colour?
Yeah,
Stuff like that, yeah.
Although I heard they actually answered that now, and it is basically, we do. I mean, short of having particular differences with regards to
cones and whatnot,
cones and rods and colour blindness and such. Generally speaking, we do seemingly see the same colours.
Oh, that's pretty cool to know.
Yeah. No, I was thinking more about the whole of reality. Yeah.
Oh, living in a matrix and shit.
Well, a matrix or anything. What if our entire existence was some kind of a fiction?
Oh yeah, like we would just I don't know, just like some characters someone had made up for the start of a podcast or something.
Yeah, like some kind of cold open, yeah. And
we literally just existed here. And
we only exist here. I perceive you.
I perceive
this.
Oh yeah. I perceive that.
Do a good old perceive on that.
Yeah.
And, I perceive, cat sitting over there.
Yeah, but
ashtray and stuff. But
maybe we stop talking and we finish this and then we cease to exist entirely.
We cease to exist entirely. Maybe this whole room doesn't exist and, then... I don't know, maybe someone talks about video games or music or films they've seen or something.
I don't know. I like the idea, but it seems a bit far-fetched to me.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Greetings, strangers, queer and pleasant. I'm not Laura Kate Magnet Dale.
And I'm not Jane Aerith Magnet Dale, and welcome to another episode of Queer and Pleasant Strangers. It's a podcast where two queer trans ladies have a bit of a giggle and do silly voices and have a catch-up about the media we've consumed in the week. Some of it we've consumed together, some of it we've consumed separately. That's just how it goes.
Are you enjoying the fact that we had some rain? And the average temperature is now 2 degrees lower than it was yesterday.
There was some rain, and sure, it is 2 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, but it's also more humid, so swings and roundabouts there.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
And also the swings and roundabouts are wet.
Yeah,
so
they're hot and wet.
Hot and wet.
It's a dangerous combination for a swing and a roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's not a dangerous combination? Us, and talking about the things we've played in the week.
Well, what have you played? What do you want to talk about first of all?
I mean, should we start with the one that I think has been both of our big games of the week?
The big one.
Yeah, we've both been playing a lot of Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Which finally came out.
Yeah.
I got review code right around the time of recording last week, and I hadn't really had a chance to dig into it. And
la-di-da-di.
I know. But at this point, we've both played 20 plus hours, I think. I think you might be in
verging on that, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in that sort of range. For anybody who doesn't know, this is an adorable sort of 2D cartoon art style game about a lamb that is...
the last of his kind.
The last lamb left alive, because there's seemingly some kind of prophecy that a lamb is going to be instrumental in, and they're all being slaughtered. And the very last lamb is about to be executed. And
is in fact
executed and is brought back to life by
the one who waits.
Yes, a demonic Yeah, a monstrous being chained up outside of time that goes, hey, I'll bring you back to life if you start a cult in my honour and go on a quest to murder the people who chained me up here. And so now you're the world's most adorable occult owner.
Yay!
Yeah, the game is like half action roguelike, half town management sim. You go and do dungeon runs in a sort of like Hades, Binding of Isaac-esque way where you go get random weapons and random power-ups and beat rooms full of enemies and pick up rewards along the way and try and beat the bosses.
Yep.
And then when you come back, you take all those resources and you try and keep all your little cultists happy and build up your little farm. And
you make them beds and you feed them and
give them psychedelic mushrooms so that their faith in you will not waver. And such.
Also because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun!
Yay!
Yay! How are you finding it?
I have nearly finished it.
Yes, you
I am
are...
already thinking about playing another game of it, because I started it on stream.
Right.
I didn't have the Twitch integration working.
Yes.
I had a lot of problem with that. It was the day of launch.
Yes.
And it seems like they had a lot of problems, which they spent a lot of time over the weekend fixing.
Yeah.
I hope that they are not working themselves too hard.
Yeah.
Because as I understand that this is a small, fairly indie team.
Yes.
So, yes, appreciated that things work now, but also, please look after yourselves.
Yeah. I did somewhat the opposite to you. I started on a solo playthrough, because I didn't want to start streaming it before it was available for other people. And then I started streaming it, and now I have two consecutive playthroughs. I have like a 10-hour solo playthrough, and like coming up on 20 hours of the one I've been doing on stream.
You've been doing long streams.
I've been doing some long streams. It is, for someone with ADHD, it's one of those games that can be really hard to find a natural stopping point for, because you keep getting a lot of like, well, I'll get
to the end of the run. Oh yeah, but now I need to feed people.
Yeah. Well, usually it's on the farming bit where I find difficulty finding exit wraps sometimes, where I'm like, okay, this will be the last thing I'll do. I'll feed the villagers, get them all fed. That'll be the last thing I do. And then it becomes nighttime, and then I'm like, well, it's nighttime, so I might as well wait for morning and do the sermon. And then, I've done the sermon, so now I might as well set up everyone's jobs for the day and finish up.
Set up their jobs?
I mean, it depends on the thing. Like, go and check, say, the refineries and make sure that that if I need to be refining materials, I've put them in there, and they're like so that people can be working on it during the day. Check that...
Refineries are one of the things that need babysitting a lot more than most.
A little bit.
The toilets, initially.
The stations that you build for mining wood and stone on an ongoing basis initially need a lot of micromanaging to, check they haven't broken down while you aren't paying attention. Things like that, but, it's a real one of those games that, you go to do one task, and while you're doing it, and the next task you're going to do will naturally pop up, and it's a real easy one to lose time to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a very good, enjoyable way, but I can also see how it's I'm enjoying it a lot, but it could very easily become one of those ones where it's like, oh no, I can't find an exit ramp. Stress.
Yeah, I mean, because of the heat, Thursday night, I was already yawning before the stream had started.
Yeah.
I was like, but I've got to do a stream. Need to keep up with streaming stuff. And we played through. I couldn't get Twitch integration to work, which felt like a bummer because you'd managed to get yours working earlier in the day.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe it had something to do with the number of people, but I could not get it to work at all.
I managed to get it to work a few hours after the game went live to the general public, and it was I think it was once America got to its evening time
it just
on release day, it
to
crunched the server somewhat.
Yeah. But yeah, so I played through it, did a 2.5 hour stream.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the stream was over, I just lay on the couch and played about 3 more hours.
Yeah, it's real easy to play multiple hours and be like, I feel like I've achieved a lot, and simultaneously, I've not... I might have spent an hour and a half, 2 hours of that in one go, not even going on any dungeon runs, just doing farm management.
Yeah, you got really into the farming stuff, and I was mainly doing dungeon stuff. So I was going oh yeah, I've just got to the third world, the sort of third set of dungeons, and you were like, oh, I've got to the end of the first one, I haven't got into the second one yet, I've just been farming.
Yeah.
So you had all of this stuff unlocked your end, and I had all of this stuff unlocked from the other side.
Yeah, it was a really interesting mix, because, before even going to the second of the, like, 4 main worlds,
Yeah.
I finished the first one, and then went and, like, I completely maxed out all of the doctrines for my cult. I did so much stuff without going to the second area, just because I got into a real loop of, yeah, but I don't want to leave until it's perfect, and if there's things I could do to make my community nicer for my little collection of animal people, I want to make it nice before I go. I want to leave them and know that I've definitely done everything I can to make sure they'll be okay when I'm gone.
Both of us trying to be the nicest possible cult
Oh,
leaders.
indeed. And, like, there is definitely degrees of, like, even trying to play this as nicely as possible, you will still be complicit in some degree of,
I mean, there are power dynamic issues.
There are power dynamic issues. You were a power dynamic abusing cult leader, regardless. But, like, hey, we don't need to have maybe the fight to the death fight pit where I decide whether you're allowed to stop before one of you dies. Maybe I don't need one of
I
those.
definitely didn't unlock that.
Oh, that was one of the doctrine options. I can't remember what it was.
I think I
where
turned
it
it
came
down
out.
quite early on then.
Yeah, it was one of the doctrine options was like, hey, do you want a fight to the death pit? And I was like, no, thank you. I'll take this nice thing over here.
Yeah, so there's like 16 doctrines? No.
Five
20.
yeah, so it's 5 categories and each one has 4 unlocks.
Yes.
And each of those 4 unlocks, you get 2 choices
Yes.
to choose between.
You have
And
a
generally-
binary choice.
Yeah, and generally it's like one will be a little more iron fist vicious cult leader, and one will be a little more you're trying to be nice to your community-ish.
Yes.
How
many people have you sacrificed? Do you have a rough idea?
Not many, and I've only sacrificed people when there has been a quest where someone has gone, I would like the honour of being
sacrifice
sacrificed, please. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, no, if that's what you want, I'm happy to respect your wishes, and we'll have a big ceremony where we stab you to death and feed you to the tentacle thing in the ground.
Yay!
Yay!
Tentacle hugs, woo!
Yeah!
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to be a nice cult leader while still maniacally cackling about like, hee, I am running a cult.
I mean, I've done alms for the poor. I've given them their holy day, their
Yeah.
holiday time.
Yeah, same.
Occasionally we all do mushrooms, but I like to think that that's just a fun thing that we all do together.
Yeah. I mean, we in my community at this point, we're doing a lot of mushrooms.
Doing a lot of mushrooms.
Yeah.
I have to go away a lot, and I want to make sure that everyone
Well,
stays
that's the
happy.
thing. I like the knowledge that everyone will be fine until my return, and sometimes like, hey, look, I'm going to go away for a couple of days. Here's some mushrooms, have fun while I'm gone.
Yeah, because people get upset when I go away and I don't give
Yeah.
them mushrooms. So if I just give them some mushrooms and I come back and they're still really happy.
And it also saves me from, like, the inevitability of every single time without fail, the moment I decide to go do a dungeon run, the first room of the dungeon run is where whatever elderly character that was waiting to die will go, hey, I've died!
I've died, which means
Everyone's
if you
gonna be
finish
sad.
this run, everyone's going to be sad and I'm going to be rotting.
Exactly, which is why I'm like, okay, well, at least they won't be sad if you're dead, but they're tripping.
I'd done a really... Oh, God, I know. I was like, can you imagine?
No.
Oh, I don't want to see the rotting corpse.
But yeah, it's a real good game.
Yeah, it's really good. I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm looking forward to playing more of
Yeah.
it.
I was very excited for it, and it still managed to surpass my expectations for how much I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Like, I had that little bit of fear of, is it just going to be the gimmick and not really much substance behind it? But no, it is a good game, like a mechanically good game in its own right, outside of the cute, adorable cult gimmick.
It does a good crossover of the two things of the dungeon running and
Yeah.
the town management stuff.
Yeah.
You can do lots of customization of your village with all
Yeah.
the decorative.
As someone that has managed to get the Twitch integration working, it's been really fun, although it doesn't work for people who are watching on mobile, so I've done a little bit of manually integrating chat and using the built-in integration. So, for people who are on desktop, there's a nice little overlay that will show up, and people can go, hey, enter me in a raffle, and they get to click on their screen to, like, pick their animal, pick what colour they want to be, pick their markings to join the
Right.
cult. And they'll have their little a Twitch icon and their name above their head while you play.
Okay.
People on mobile don't have access to the interface, so what I've been doing is just alternating one raffle, one, hey, on a system? Are you on a mobile and not able to enter the raffle and you'd like to be a villager? Hands up, first come, first served, I'll make you a villager.
Okay.
And, like, asking them in chat, which animal would you like to be? What colour would you like to be? What design would you like to be? Cool, hit enter.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing that I think has, like, that's been fun. The two things that I think are kind of more interesting are the occasional chat vote for whether something good or bad happens to you and what it is.
Oh no.
And I think if you're playing with members of chat in the community, generally they will wish for good things because they want their villager named after them to be looked after well.
I still remember the last time I played Dead Souls with Twitch integration, and people were mean.
People are mean in a game like that, but I think this being like, hey, I'm looking after you, cult members will start voting to look after you as the cult leader.
I see.
Seems to be a thing. But the other one is you've got something to spend channel points on.
Yes.
The innumerable thing that no one ever has anything to spend on. You can spend them to contribute to a little totem in the faith totem in the middle of town.
Right.
And it has a second bar that's a little purple bar that
Is
gets
that for
filled up by
everyone or
Twitch.
just the people who got in?
Everyone on Twitch who has channel points can spend channel points.
I might have to come pop over and spend my 12.7k channel points.
And what you get for that is once 10 people, and it's on a cooldown for the entire chat, so it can't be spammed too much.
Okay.
But once 10 people in chat have done the reward and filled in the bar, which can take maybe 20 minutes, you get a little spin of a wheel and you get some resources or maybe a new character skin unlock early or something like that. And you just get a nice little reward.
And you said you found some of the DLC characters.
Yeah, I unlocked one of the DLC characters despite not having the version with the DLC characters, because I got a review code that was just the base game. From that spin, which was really nice. But yeah, the having something to spend channel points on that shows up on screen and fills up a bar and everyone gets a little reward when it fills in. It's just a nice little thing. It's a smart bit of integration. Yeah, I am loving this game, and I can definitely see myself playing a second playthrough after I finish this playthrough. It's real good like that.
Yeah.
Also, I now know what everything does and how to prioritise getting to the bits of build I want.
Yeah.
And how to lay it out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing that I'm looking forward to on a second run is getting all 4 areas open as early as possible.
Yeah.
And then making sure that I have... Because that will give me access to all the different vegetable seeds.
Yeah.
There were a couple of times when I was like, Laura, have you unlocked this thing? Because you've done so much already. I was like, can you tell me what this item is that I need to build this object?
I don't got no fucking clue.
Because I'd unlocked all these objects and they kept having things that I just didn't know how to access.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's just... Once you go in this level, that's just lying around like the bones.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
That was generally the thing that got me. I'm in the 3rd area now, and the thing that would push me forward into going to the next area was, have I found a desirable upgrade for my community that I don't have the items for? Cool, I'll go to the next area and hope it's an easily found thing there.
Yeah, for me it was the grass composting bin.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want this thing. Because that's like just a nice thing to be able to cook. Poop was a thing I was struggling with. I was deliberately feeding people meals that will make them shit. Because I didn't have enough shit to correctly, deal with my farm. And the easiest things seemed to be just feed them shit food.
Yeah.
Feed them the shitty food.
And stick around to pick it up for them.
Yeah. But yeah, I have really enjoyed Cult of the Lamb, and I hope more people get to play it.
Yeah.
What else have you played?
Well, not much to say on this, but I'm still playing through Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm over 100 hours deep into it now. I think I just crossed 105 hours.
Content rich.
As far as I can tell, I have the ability to go do the end game.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I have an area I can go to that sure seems like it would be the end game, although it might just be go, fail to do the thing, come back, formulate a better plan and try again. It might not be the actual point of no return. I haven't Googled. I haven't Googled to go, is this actually a point of no return or not? And at some point I'll ask someone who's further ahead, be like, spoiler free, is this the point of no return? But I'm currently working through all of the... I've almost finished all of the quests for all of the party members to unlock their, increased level cap for their class. And the thing I've been really digging about this is, you were asking me about, tutorials.
Yes.
Within 50 hours, the tutorials largely stopped, which for a Xenoblade game is fucking a miracle.
Unheard of.
Right? But like, yeah, all of the narrative, all of the core voice acted side quests, for things like doing your loyalty quest for a party member in their class, all tie into other side quests that have happened, and keep sort of interweaving all of the side quests together in a way that's really interesting. So like a really good example, I had a side quest much earlier on for one character where there was this whole thing where this minor character was clearly keeping a secret from their community, and the community was starting to shun them and we didn't know what to do about it. And then we had the loyalty quest for a main party member that went back to that side quest and was like, hey, let's go investigate what was going on with that, and it's whole big cutscene, but when you complete it, it opens up a bunch more side quests that, again, are tied into that big story quest you just did, and has a real good way of bringing you back to areas you haven't been to for a while, to tidy up cliffhanger threads that, like, were left last time you left, and then give you 2 or 3 more quests for that area's community that feel very baked into what that community's about, and
It makes the world a lot more alive.
yeah, and I like that the side quests aren't all presented to you all at once the first time you get to an area,
Nice.
which is nice. It gives you reasons to go back. But the loyalty quests for the party members does a really good job of like taking you back and forth around places to go, hey, you might not have thought to come back here, but there are a few more side quests to pick up. Like it keeps bringing you back to areas from much early in the game to make sure you catch the new content that's been evolving as the world's been changing. And a lot of the side quests are about like, hey, we didn't give you that side quest before because you hadn't unlocked this other community over here, but now they have a dynamic and they interact in a certain way, therefore we'll unlock some new side quests about what the world is like now that they both coexist and maybe have different aims or different goals, and all of the areas feel a lot more like they're parts of one big world and not like isolated towns that only care about their own isolated town and its happenings.
Yeah.
And that's really neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still need to finish Xenoblade 3. I need to crack it out. I'm gonna try and maybe try and finish it this week while I'm on some coach travel, but I really like it. It might be my favourite Xenoblade game. I'm really digging it. Narratively, it's doing some really interesting stuff. It's a little slow and a little linear in its opening, like, 10 hours. It's not bad during those, like, 10, 15 hours, but it is slow and linear, and then suddenly it becomes this huge thing that I'm really digging.
Yay!
So yeah, what about you? What have you been playing?
Oh, well, not a huge amount.
Yeah.
One thing I have been going back to a little bit, I did some more, Vampire Survivors.
Yes, I saw you were having some very cool looking runs.
It's been a while for Vampire Survivors. I've not really had a lot of time for it. And also I think I might have burnt myself out on it a little bit because I was playing it a lot.
Yeah.
And I've got to a point where I'm good enough and I've unlocked enough things that, like, every single run is pretty much, like, unless I accidentally click on something I shouldn't have,
Yeah.
every run is gonna be over 30 minutes at least.
Yeah.
Every run is going to result in killing death
Yes.
at the end. Like, this just happens every single time.
Yeah.
But that's not always a problem,
Yeah.
but you can burn out on that, I think.
Yes.
Like, I've made some very cool combos
Yeah.
recently, especially with the, I think, 2 most recent updates I'd missed.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying the new stuff.
Yeah.
There's now like a secrets book that will give you hints about how to find things you haven't unlocked yet.
Yeah.
There's also an option for entering codes for certain characters, so
Yeah.
if there is a particular mission you're struggling with, you could always just look up whatever the code is to unlock that character, and that seems to stay unlocked
Yeah.
without you having to deal with, like sometimes it's like, oh, you've unlocked the character, but it's not going to stay unlocked.
Yeah.
We're not going to. Saving is disabled now.
Yeah.
So it's been nice to do that, some more of that, see some more of the content, try out some more characters.
Watching you play as me really made me want to get back into playing some more of it, maybe when I take some flights coming up soon. I really like that game, and I very deliberately, didn't binge through it all in one go, because I wanted to... I knew I was at real risk of burning out on it, and I was like, I'm going to stop pretty early, so that next time I have a real hankering for it, I can have a bunch of new stuff to do and a bunch of new stuff to find. and like keep leaving myself lots of stuff to do every time I'm like, oh, I'm in a mood for it.
And then my super build just like got you.
Oh, that build looks fucking gorgeous. The dopamine rush was
All
real.
the dopamine. So I was playing Mask of Red Death with eggs on in the bone zone, starting with the Gold Rush Arcana, and then getting both birds, both guns, Gatti Amari, which is the cats, leveling up the guns and the birds until they fuse, adding the Laurel and the Clock Lancet, leveling all of that, and getting all of the like extra items around the level, so both rings and both arrows, and then as my second Arcana picking up the Gemini. So the Gemini doubles some of your weapons. So you get the guns, so you get anti-guns as well as your already fused guns. So you have the swirly from the fused guns and the four-way diamond of bullets. Then you've got cats as well as the eyeballs, because you've got the anti-Getty Amari. And you get a blue and a red bird, as well as your green bird, which is the fused bird. The one I want to try next, but the problem is the character is really fragile, is Cosmo. Cosmo starts with all 6 slots open.
Okay.
But they also kind of have both birds already.
Okay.
So you can get duplicates of the birds.
Okay.
So you can still get all the power-ups from that.
Yeah.
But also you can get, like, a full set of other items.
Ooh.
So you would have even more items, and then all the extra stuff on top of it.
There is so much I haven't seen in this game, and I'm so excited.
Have you been to, like, the 5th level yet? So now you
I don't even know if I can't remember off the top of my head if I've been to the 5th one.
So you've got the green level that you start, the first one.
Yeah.
Then you've got the inlaid library, which is the, like, infinite corridor. Yeah. Then you've got the dairy processing place.
Yeah, with the carts that move side to side,
Then you've got the Gallow Tower, I think.
Yeah, the up and down tower,
Then you've got the weird outdoor type place with the stained glass windows.
I don't know if I've been there.
Like there's a bunch of angels and stuff as enemies?
I think not. Yeah.
So there's like a whole extra level since you last tried. That level is hard.
It's on the waiting list for when I have, like, I don't have enough brain, but I want to play something along my list.
I need a dopamine, please.
Again, it might be good for flights.
Yeah.
I think. It might be...
You got flights, you got the Steam Deck.
Yeah, it might be the first flight I go take the Steam Deck on.
Oh, heck.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else have you played?
The only other real thing of consequence that I've played this week is we played some more Clank Legacy.
We did!
With the people we play Clank Legacy
finally
with.
had time to sit down and play some more Clank Legacy.
Yeah.
Bless them. The people who own that have been like, do anyone organise some Clank Legacy? We're so sorry, we're really busy.
Life is busy, we've been trying, and we're gonna...
And then one of them got COVID.
We're gonna try and play some more soon.
Yeah.
But yes, I continue to very much be enjoying Clank Legacy.
We've done 2 more missions.
Yep.
One of which was very different to everything we've played so far.
Yes, it was a very unexpected diversion from the norm.
Made lots of changes to the board. I can see how very customised this is going to be.
It forced us to play in a very different way.
Yes.
I'm glad that everyone at the table was very willing to go, let's just fully cooperate and say fuck it to beating each other out.
Yep.
Let's not be too greedy. Oops, we got too greedy.
Oops, we got too greedy and all... 3 of us died.
Yeah.
Only one of us got out.
I was the only one that got out, and it was only because I deliberately stayed very close to the get back above ground line, because I was like, I don't trust this mission, it seems too dangerous, I'm going to stay here.
I started with so much Clank in the bank that I realised nothing was going to help.
Yeah.
So my mission was put as much Clank in the bag as possible, so that when I die, it will act as a buffer for everyone else.
That is fair. And the fucking narrative implications and rewards of that mission were... It's one of the most interesting end of game in a legacy game I think there's been, in terms of the... We're going to have some, like, really wide-reaching changes mechanically that feel incredibly narratively justified. and that, like, I had emotional attachment to some of the shit going down.
Yeah.
There was one bit that involved a particular card we've been adding to for a long time.
Oh, we were all like, oh no, what's going to happen?
Yeah, the fact that we'd gotten so emotionally invested in this card and then something quite dramatic was suggested about them. Like, halfway through reading the description of what was about to happen, we were like, oh no, it's it's going to happen to that card, isn't it? Fuck, oh no.
Yeah, we realised pretty quickly it was going to happen to that person.
Yeah.
We were like, oh no. Permanent changes.
I actually really like how it played out in the end, but it was a very scary. It was a very scary prospect. It's like when a devastating consequence happens to a D&D NPC. You're like, oh no, you're a fictional character I have no control over, but I really care about what's happening to you.
And filling in that last line as well.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but yeah, I've enjoyed that so far.
Very enjoyable.
I'm genuinely curious what that's going to be like to play as a standalone game once the missions are finished.
Yeah,
because it is wild.
Yeah, the sheer degree of flexibility we've had over reshaping the board has been interesting.
Yeah, and we've only played one mission on the underground, so
yeah,
there's still more.
So yeah, you played anything else this week?
Yeah, we played Takenoko.
That is a game we played before.
Yeah.
It's about panda eating bamboo.
Yeah, we had a nice time playing with the pandas.
Yeah.
It's quite funny, the people who we played with were like, yeah, we played this. And as we went through, they realised they had been playing the rules wrong almost entirely.
They'd been playing... Every rule they'd been playing a little bit on hard mode.
Yes, ever so slightly, like, weird or wrong, and... we just like, are you sure that's how, like, do you mind if I just sit on the rulebook? I've only played this twice.
Yeah.
And then just going, no, that isn't how it works.
Yeah. But we had a very fun time.
Yeah, we did. We had a great time. It was lovely. Also, it was really lovely to hang out because it's been a very long time. And then we wrapped up the day with a little bit of Jackbox, some TKO, some Madverse City.
Oh, yeah. I always enjoy them both. Madverse City in particular, I always find it very fun.
I really enjoy it, but sometimes people just do not click with your rhymes.
Yeah, you have to play with the right group of people.
Yeah.
You have to play with people who are very okay to... Who don't get paralysed.
Diss each other.
Well, who are okay to diss each other and are not afraid to go, oh shit, I'm backed into a corner, I'm gonna commit to a bad rhyme.
Yeah.
Like, I know some people will get very paralysed by, oh fuck, I can't make a good sentence. It's like, don't make a good sentence. Commit real hard to a bad sentence. Like, real lean into it.
Well, I rhymed Golden Grams with Kablam.
Yeah, you did. You fucking did, and it was great.
Yeah, it was really nice to hang out and play some boarded games.
Yeah.
Have you played anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's the main stuff anyway.
Well then.
Time for this.
As the Earth runs screaming into a climate apocalypse, retail therapy feels harder and harder to justify. That's why literally ones of people are switching to a hands-on hobby that will have you learning new skills and leaving you with a beautiful creation of your own making. Sign up today and build a guillotine, because it's one of the less messy ways of dealing with the fossil fuel industry. So you're out doing a little bit of shopping, just picking up some essentials for the week.
Uh-huh.
But you can feel the blood starting to race. Your chest starting to tighten. You can feel your breathing just getting a little bit quicker and more anxious. It's not necessarily anything anyone's done, but suddenly you're feeling very surrounded by people. That rising feeling of a panic attack. And really, you just want somewhere safe and less sensory. Try Flopverse. Just set it up beforehand. It can be any colour you want, or no light at all. You can set the gravity so that you don't have to worry about your feeling weight of your own body. You can just flop in space or on a nice couch. We can put a couch in there if you want. And it's a nice safe space where time doesn't move. So before you know it, you'll have got over your panic attack and be ready to face the world. Flopverse. It's there when you need it.
Oh, just give me a second. I'm going to go slide into the flop dimension.
What have you put in your eyes?
Oh, we've watched so much Jordan Peele.
We've watched a lot of Jordan Peele.
No spoilers. We're going to stay very spoiler-free about Nope, but we saw Nope that came out.
Nope?
It came out like a month ago
So
in
good.
the US. We somehow managed to avoid spoilers until it came out in the UK. For anyone who doesn't know, Jordan Peele is the person behind Get Out and Us. He's a very, very talented.
One half of Q&PS?
Yes. Came from a sketch comedy background and then became one of the most, superb people in horror, completely, out the gate. His first film was superb. His second film was superb. Nope, third film, very different, knocks it out the park entirely. It's fucking great.
I think, obviously, it's still got a lot of the things that you expect from Jordan Peele, but also, you can feel that craft evolving.
Yeah. So, there's spoiler-free things I will say. I think this is the most he's ever leaned into mixing his dual skills of comedy and horror, and the fact that both of those can sort of be interchanged in effective ways. Because they're both about building up tension and releasing it at expected or unexpected times, and the way he will set up... There was a few times in this where he would set up horror tension and pay it off with comedy, or vice versa, that I think he's uniquely very good at. It's one of his more simple initial premises, but he uses that space, he executes it perfectly, and still finds room to do really interesting lore stuff with the simple premise. It may start seeming like, okay, I get it, there's no big twist to what, it's just, this is what it is. But then he finds a lot of space to go, yeah, but it doesn't work the way you think it does, and acting was top-notch.
Oh, yeah, great cast as always.
Yeah.
Some just stunning effects. The sound design in that film is incredible.
I did not expect to get as attached to the supporting cast as I did. The supporting cast are the kind of characters that could so easily be really throwaway nothings, and they honestly were really impactful.
Plus, this film worked extra hard for me because I'm scared of horses.
Yes. That spoiler, there are horses.
It's set on a ranch.
Yeah. It is very much a film of two halves. And I understand why. I feel like I probably wouldn't have given the first half as much confidence and benefit of the doubt as I did, if not for knowing Peele's earlier work and knowing the sort of level of trust I have.
Yeah.
Because I went in very unsure, being like, this isn't quite what I expect. But that first portion is entirely, very effectively in service of a build-up.
Yeah.
And
an almost Lynchian build-up.
Yeah. And Lynch is a good comparison point, because,
he likes to dwell.
Yeah, the early portion of this film really takes its time doing Lynch-style dwelling.
I think whereas Lynch spends a lot of time dwelling in metaphor and in ideas and dreams, this can definitely absolutely do metaphor.
There are definitely some points of that.
But it always feels like there is a more of a payoff.
Yes.
You might have to watch seasons, years, decades more Lynch stuff for a thing to finally pay off.
Yeah.
But this is it will pay off before the end of the film.
Yes, and the payoffs are very clear and direct, but it's lots of getting you used to an atmosphere and a tone and setting groundwork.
Yeah.
To provide a very effective latter portion that can be stacked with very dramatic moments that have been very complexly contextualized.
Yeah.
It is a masterpiece of a film.
It's been a long time since I've been to the cinema with you, where you've spent the last half hour of a film just sat there with your hand over your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I don't think I'd have been like that if not for the first portion being the way it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does what it does to get you into a frame of mind so that when it hits you with what it does later, it hits harder.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
more
absolutely.
impactful because it's spent so long doing what it's doing and not rushing itself.
Hang on, this is not what I thought it was, but also,
Yeah.
oh my god,
It's so good. It's
Yep.
so good.
it is.
Such good subversion of it does a lot of very good subversion of the tropes of horror and genre conventions of things like the rules. If you follow the rules of a horror, the thing doesn't happen, or if you follow these rules of horror, this is supposed to happen. And playing around with that a little bit in nice ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and it was another one of those films where we came back. We were talking about it all the way home, as spoiler free as possible in the back of a cab.
Yeah, being like, just in case the text
Just in case
yeah.
they're interested, not going to say anything.
Yeah. But they got in the door and were like, okay, let's get talking.
and we chat. I think we chatted for a good hour and a bit,
Yeah.
and then we sort of sat in silence for a bit while we mulled over our collective thoughts, and then we chatted some more about it, and we were still talking about it the next day.
Yeah.
And then we watched the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, because the 2019 reboot of the Twilight Zone's got 2 seasons. That's Jordan Peele as well, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I trust you wholeheartedly.
Also,
Mr.
I
Peele.
want more of your glorious horror.
Indeed. So we watched 2 seasons of anthology sort of mystery horror stories.
Yeah.
Not always strictly horror, but sort of sci-fi
Slightly thriller.
what if
Yes.
mystery conundrums.
Yes. I feel
Um,
like in both seasons, they had the most fun with the finales.
Yes, the finales are definitely where they let their hair loose a little bit.
Yes.
And like there's a real mix of like from one episode to the next what they're trying to go for.
Yeah.
Tone wise is very different. Like go into this expecting a collection of short stories that might not always 100% be for you, but you can admire the craft of each one and how they sort of fit into this pantheon.
Like I think one of my favorites, the one that has really stuck with me a lot, is the one with the podcast.
I was about to say, I was like, is that going to be the one you bring up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's somewhat similar to the premise of the Welcome to Night Vale episode. This is a story about you.
Yes.
But it's someone who has
In
got
third person.
yeah, it's someone who's gotten on a plane, found an MP3 player in the seat in front of him, starts listening, and it's a podcast about the flight he's on. Talking about how it
Vanished.
It vanished, and no one knows what happened to it, and explaining the cast of characters around him, and him trying to decide in what ways to act or not act on information that he feels like is real, but how do you fucking convince someone of that?
Yep.
And it was a real good one. That
It's amazing.
it is superb. There's a few really stellar ones.
Yeah. There's a few really difficult to watch ones.
Yeah. I think a lot about the very first one of season 1, the comedian
Yes.
who
Has to put themselves out there.
yes, every time he tells a joke about a person he knows, that person no longer exists. And has never existed.
Yep.
And
How you deal with that.
how you deal with that, despite the fact that suddenly your comedy career is taking off in this sort of internal battle, and your sort of morals of what you think comedy should be versus what is succeeding for you.
Yes.
Um,
I imagine that came from quite a personal space.
yeah, season 1 finale is a real fourth wall break.
And I kind of want to watch the first season again.
Right.
See
Right.
that.
Yeah. I want to see whether it was being honest about some of the allegations it made. But yeah, it was a very effective fourth wall pull.
Yeah.
Very well handled.
And also, like, because every episode has like a in the next episodes, sort of like preview thing.
Yeah.
And I think it did a really good job in the previous episode of it is about this thing, and then it not being about that thing.
Yeah. Was
Beyond minor tangent.
Yeah. Was the season 2 finale the tardigrade one?
No, that was the egg. Everybody wants an egg.
Oh, Everyone Wants an Egg. Oh, the Everyone Wants an Egg one was really good.
It was really good, and I love the visual design
Yeah.
for some of the characters in that.
Yeah, very, very interesting critique of the end point of materialism and surviving like late stage polished capitalism.
So polished.
Yeah, I really
in like a cross between, I don't know, like there's. I felt like there was a certain almost them vibe, they live vibe, and Stepford Wives.
Yeah.
That sort of very polished suburban.
Yes. Oh, there's a few others I really liked. I really liked the it was a heavy watch, but I really liked the time loop cassette rewinding cassette cassette player.
Yes.
Or camcorder.
A woman trying to get her son to college and stopping into a diner for a nice bit of lunch, and this cop comes in for a spot of lunch and just takes offence to the fact that there are two black people in town.
Racist cop doesn't like two black people, and time loop mechanic as this woman tries to
find the correct way to deal with it.
Trying to find a way to protect her son from having to endure the experience of staring down a violent racist cop.
Yes.
And the difficulties of, like, what is clearly her increased lived experience dealing with racist cops in that area, and her knowledge of how far south things can go, how fast, versus her son who has never lived in what feels like it was the Deep South, and has never lived in a place that has quite as big a problem of overtly racist local cops.
Almost certainly lives in a place where racism exists because it's America, but not that degree of overt aggressive.
Yes, the kind of place where like there are no there is no like streetfuls of people to hopefully catch footage to fix it afterwards.
Yeah, rural enough that they think they can get away with fucking anything.
Yeah,
and
that they are all the more emboldened.
They can.
Yeah, and like the difference between her response to the cop and her son's, and how that sort of creates tension in these encounters,
and also that whole thing that you hear about, like, black parents having to teach their kids about how to handle angry white people with guns.
Yeah, and the fact that, like, I 100% empathise with why, in spite of having that talk, it could be really hard for someone like that son to sit and bite their tongue through the indignity of...
because why should you have to?
Why should you have to? But obviously the time loop is reinforcing, like, the mother knows exactly how bad the consequences can be if you don't play nice for the fucking racist cop.
Yep.
Like, it is a heavy watch, but it's fascinating.
Yeah. The other super heavy watch that I really struggled with was The Day Men Got Violent.
Yes.
And I know you're going to complain about it for that one line.
I know.
I put it that character who said those things was theorizing in the dark. I can see why.
So I agree with you, but a human being still wrote that as the only proposed explanation, and therefore, to me, it suggests that the writer still fell for the trope that everything in this genre does, and it still annoys me, regardless of whether it was confirmed fact or the only presented theory. I was waiting, holding my breath, going, how long is it going to take? And it happened.
About 25-30 minutes.
Yeah, they held off on it longer than I expected, but, you know.
In an hour-long show.
Yeah.
About halfway.
Honestly, that's about the biggest critique I had across both seasons, and it didn't ruin that episode for me. It was okay, you fell for a bit of a trope, but it's
I think that was, for me, the way I imagine a lot of black people will watch the episode with the cop. For me, it was this is the fear I have daily of what if man who is bigger and stronger than me
is emboldened.
Just is emboldened enough to just want to end me for no good reason.
That's the thing, is both of them are at their heart stories about being put in a position where usually white men are emboldened to violence against specific groups, and how that plays out. It was a very interesting one, though.
Oh yeah, I think it's a really good episode, but
Yeah.
like, and as with all of the Twilight Zone
Yeah.
stuff, it's making a very interesting critique,
Yeah.
especially like the very end of that episode, because the actual conclusion of it is way worse than what you're led to expect
Right.
throughout it. Like,
Yeah,
when you actually get to the conclusion, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing. I might not always agree with the conclusions that some of the stories come to, but I largely think they provide very interesting thought fodder and are like, you've gone out on a limb to tell a story that isn't afraid to commit to a perspective.
That's a series that if it was on something I had access to, I think I would want to watch it weekly.
Yeah.
Because having that, okay, we watched an episode, now we're going to sit and digest it.
Yes.
As opposed to,
And
we're
honestly,
just going to sit and watch 20 straight episodes of the
I
show.
wouldn't be opposed to rewatching some of the individual episodes again over dinner at some point and just going, let's just take that one in tonight.
Yeah.
I really liked. Oh, sorry, I keep thinking of more ones that I really enjoyed. The one with the alien in the basement that starts.
The tardigrade,
yeah, the tardigrade, the big tardigrade that starts looking like a set of parents' dead daughter.
Yes.
And starts talking with her voice and talking about things that only she should know.
Yeah.
And the sort of conflicted response of how to deal with that and. The way that unfolds is fascinating.
Yeah, like the final outcome of that is another one of those, like,
It's
fascinating, slightly moral conundrum-y.
yeah, weirdly, it was a lot more optimistic of an ending than I expected.
They don't all
Which
have
is-
to be dark.
Yeah.
But, like, just weird.
Yeah. Oh, the other really good one was the sort of bottle episode, the Mars mission.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a bunch of people who were on like the first settlement mission to Mars, they're gonna like live on Mars, or like go land on Mars properly as humans.
They're in the ship.
They've taken off.
They're like doing the countdown for takeoff.
Yeah, they're mid takeoff. They can't really commit to not doing this, and the news comes through that.
Was it 50 ICBMs have been launched?
Yeah, that basically nuclear, like mass scale nuclear war on Earth has begun.
Yep.
And they have to commit to, do we go or do we turn back? And they commit to going, and go on this like mission to Mars where they may not have a home to return to. There may not be Earth anymore.
There may not be anyone following them.
Yeah, there may not be anyone coming to come help finish building the colony. And the stress that creates in this very lengthy journey.
Yes.
And the paranoia that it breeds.
Yep.
And yeah, it was a fantastic character acting one.
Yeah.
Like, the performances in it were real good.
Oh, yeah. And, like, all the questions that the crew are asking themselves
Yeah.
are just like, I mean, that's a good point, maybe.
Yeah. It's... Oh. There are so many good episodes in this.
It's such a good series.
Yeah.
It's kind of... Like, it was weird. On the way home from Nope, I was... recently, I'd actually been thinking about watching original Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And then I was like, on the way back from Nope, I was like, no, I kind of want to watch... I want some more Peel.
And I'll say, like, I don't think these are... There is definitely a slight difference in, like, the quality of the stories compared to, like, some of Peel's, like, feature-length movies.
I imagine budgetary concerns.
Well, that's
are a
it.
big
I feel
part
like
of that.
part of it is budgetary, I imagine, and part of it feels like it's probably the schedule they had to be farmed out on.
Yeah.
And the specific, like, they had to fit to a certain length, and
Yeah.
as such, some of them will, like, end a little abruptly, or will sort of... Like, there's a couple of things where it's like, okay, you've had to wedge this story a little for the time slot you've got.
I think
But, like-
sometimes that helps because it leaves you with questions, and that's why I think I want to, do the whole let's have conversations about it and
I think
dissect it.
I think for some of them it works. I think for some of them it's like this story could have done with like 10 more minutes, but like. That is a criticism in regard, like in comparison to the flawlessness of his movie length work, where he has the budget and the discretion on length, and that is more an accommodation for TV matter than Peele has done less good work here. I think because it is very hard to turn out a anthology of this many stories in just a couple of years and have this consistent a level of quality over such a wide range of topics.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I am curious to see if they will do more with it. I don't know. Are we going to get a series this year? Because it was like 2019. I'm guessing the following series was 2020. Then maybe we would have had like a pause for COVID.
Maybe pause for COVID
Will we
and
get
or
some
pause for Nope.
Pause for Nope, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
When your writer, director, producer is off doing a feature film.
Yeah, I would certainly take another season. Oh, I just remembered another good one. I really like the one about the traveller who shows up in the jail.
Oh, yes.
Yes, the mysterious person who just shows up in the jail one night and...
A traveller.
Yeah, Mr. A Traveller.
Yeah.
Again, one that was really carried
That's just
by its...
full of red herrings.
Yeah, it was very much carried by that performer. His performance really held the whole thing together and propelled it.
That was what, Stephen
Stephen Yeun?
Yeun.
Stephen Yeun, I think.
Yes.
But so good. Have you watched anything else this week?
I watched a 2-hour and 48-minute video about Jordan Peterson, which has made talking about Jordan Peele really difficult because I keep accidentally saying the wrong Jordan.
I think everyone's been there. This was the
the good one or the evil one.
Yeah, this was the Some More News episode.
This was the Some More News episode about just a very concise, very short piece.
Very short 2.5 hours
about just all that is Jordan Peterson, and I knew a lot of it.
Yeah.
But, like, in context and some of the bigger stuff, like, I had no idea. And just, wow.
It's a very good wrap-up on a very terrible man.
Yes.
Who has had a horrifying impact on
so many
young men.
Young men.
Yeah. It's a very interesting, if intense watch in places.
Yeah. Yeah. It is also concerning, like, the kind of people that I've seen, like...
Yeah.
Starting to talk about stuff like that. It's like, please, okay, I absolutely have to get you to explain which side of this you are on, because our friendship absolutely 100% depends on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not really a lot to say about that. Jordan Peterson, evil.
Indeed.
Jordan Peele, very, very good.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you watched anything else?
The main other thing I've been watching...
Oh, you've been watching a very long
I've been watching a very long documentary, which I learned today is the second very long documentary this person has made, and he's got more very long documentaries on this coming.
I thought you were going to say the second one about the subject.
About Lost.
Oh, they're both about Lost.
Yeah, they're both about Lost. He's got more Lost ones coming. So on the YouTube channel Billiam, I watched Lost, TV's Greatest Mess, which is apparently, from what I can tell, his second Lost documentary style video essay. This one is 6.5 hours long.
Yes.
And it is largely about seasons 2 and 3 of Lost.
Right.
So I jumped into this, like, it was a self-sufficient thing that, like, I jumped in without having watched the previous one. But it's talking largely about, like, the situation of how, over seasons 2 and 3, Lost had both its sort of real explosion in popularity and had a real big change on the way TV was being made and produced, but also the ways that, a lot of the criticisms people have of that show are born out of the way season 1, the way that the showrunners were treated after season 1, and the way that they were sort of shoehorned into making seasons 2 and 3.
By the public or by the
yeah. So, the summarized version is... Season 1 was all that Lost was ever really meant to be. It was meant to be a one-season show that got way popular than it was more popular than it's meant to be, because the heavily serialized sci-fi but with grounded drama structure really struck a chord, and the network basically went, this thing is like the biggest TV show in the world.
This is gold dust. Go.
It is gold dust. It was like it eclipsed by like a factor of 100 to 1 the biggest show they'd ever had before in terms of views.
Okay.
It was like network defining.
Yeah.
And as such, they were like,
Never stop.
never
Print
stop.
More money. Print
Never
more money.
stop. And it was this, like after season 1 happens, there becomes this, like, big war between the showrunners and the network, where the showrunners, from the second season 2 began, they wanted to pre-agree to an end date for the show. They wanted to have a set number of seasons, a set end date, so that they didn't have to stretch it out, could know how long it was going to be, so they knew when to give
specifically
give
working
answers.
towards that goal rather than...
And, like, the network was constantly pulling them along one season at a time. Every time that contract negotiations came up, the network was trying to offer the showrunners more money, and they were like, no, we don't want more money, we want you to let us end it. And the network being like, we will not let you end it. And some of the structural stuff that does with, say, Season 2, where Season 2 introduces a bunch of new characters.
Season 2 was the rear half, right?
Yeah, you get a lot of stuff with the rear half of the plane. So, like, it introduces a big batch of new characters, so it has new people to do flashbacks for. It introduces and answers some new some questions, but it also, like, has to keep setting up new mysteries because they are not allowed to end it. And you watch how sort of seasons 2 and 3, like, a bunch of problems come out of that adding of new characters, in that you start getting fan-favourite characters from earlier seasons sidelined, which then leads to things like actors wanting to leave the show because they've had to move to Hawaii for the shooting schedule because the writers are writing it as they go, in some regards, and don't know when they're going to need certain actors, so you've just got to live in Hawaii, and we might not use you for several episodes at a time. And actors being sat around going, I'm getting paid, but I want to be doing something like a project where my character gets to be regularly doing things. And that leading to, like, some of the characters that leave the show, it's because they are not enjoying being sidelined and no longer being main characters in favour of new ones being added in. It leads to, like, there's a bunch of weird and fascinating problems that start coming out of that. This documentary talks a lot about, like, Season 2 really being where the theory crafting community around the show starts to explode, and the weird situation the showrunners were put in where they were, like, they wanted to start giving answers that would start curtailing some of the fan theories, but the network are like, no, don't give answers, because maybe that's the mystery that's keeping them watching, so you can't tell them anything. And this weird back and forth that led to, like, at the end of Season 2, the showrunners were like, okay, we'll do Season 3, but we're leaving after that, because, like, if you won't give us an end date, we're leaving. And the network basically call their bluff, going, yeah, but we know that you're not going to leave this in someone else's hands, because you don't want your legacy to risk going bad, so you'll stay. You'll stay, and you'll keep making it forever, because at least you can do your best to keep your baby good. And, like, this all big complicated mess of things, but it's also a big retrospective on those seasons and a bunch of the plot points, and how, like, character stuff from those seasons built up and paid off, or in some cases didn't pay off. It sort of looks into the character deaths that happened, and the ways that they did or did not benefit the show. Like, some of the things are, like, Boone dying in the Season 1 finale only happened because when the show got big in Season 1, the showrunners were forced to say up front, someone's going to die, because the network made them, and then they were like, okay, we're going to kill someone off, who can we kill off and have the least impact?
Networks, just destroying all kind of drama and mystery.
Yeah, it's a really interesting watch that I've been watching in, like, little batches. I've watched about 4 hours of it over a week, and I've still got a bunch left.
From where you've been watching it.
Yeah, it's been a real neat watch.
Yeah.
I don't usually finish big things of this length on YouTube, but this one's, I keep coming back.
I, on the other hand, have watched that explaining Twin Peaks thing twice, plus a bunch of other very long explaining.
Oh, I've watched the explaining Twin Peaks one at least once. It was very good. Yeah,
I've also seen someone's response video to that. It was like an hour and a half long.
Yeah, I mean, look, usually I'll sometimes do like hour and a half big video essay stuff, but 6 hours, I got the ADHD. I'll forget to come back to it.
Right.
That's the problem.
You do it in one go in hyperfocus, or you don't do it at all.
Well, exactly, and I can't hyperfocus because I got so many other things to hyperfocus. What about you? Watch anything else?
It's not been a watch-heavy week. I mean, I suppose it has been. We watched 2 seasons of...
Two seasons of a TV show, and a movie.
And a great movie. Well,
Yeah.
and we played some more games and watched played
Yeah.
some video games. I think I did all right for content this week.
I think we did.
Well then.
Time for this.
Hello, got a new sponsor.
Who's our new sponsor?
Well, do you have to write an essay of some sort?
Oh, very frequently.
Do you have to get it in at some sort of time?
Usually so, yeah.
Yeah, and do you struggle getting the essay done?
I mean, sometimes I just, I stare at a blank page and I'm just like, I have no idea where to start on this. What am I even doing?
Where am I gonna get 100,000 words from in a hurry?
Where am I gonna find the motivation, the
Focus?
ability? Yeah, the focus, the ability to get started, the ideas. Where am I gonna do that?
The energy,
Yeah, I'm just little me.
the pain-free day.
I can't do the essay. But I need the essay to be done, though.
But what if you could?
Well, then I would do it, I guess.
Okay, and that you that had done it. What if there was a way of getting that version from them?
Oh, we took in multiverse shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This week's sponsor is interdimensional essayprinter.lol.net.
Okay, tell me more. I'm intrigued.
It's like I said, you find the universe where you've done the thing.
You find a universe where I had the motivation and the focus to do it. Yeah.
And then you just print their essay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have the essay. That's
You have
actually
the
pretty,
essay,
that's
yeah.
pretty good.
You have the essay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. This seems like a no issues, very good product.
Well, not for you. It's all
what?
good.
Wait, what about not me? Who wrote the essay?
There's a little bit of a just a tiny thing of the clause. You will be stealing rather than pirating.
Oh.
So you will be taking the original.
Well, I mean, they wrote it once. They know what they wrote. They can write it again, maybe.
I mean, they seem like someone who's motivated and skilled.
Exactly.
And...
Not like me, stealing an essay from other universe me.
Plus, they're probably the kind of people that have saved additional drafts somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've. You know what? I've just tried it out. It seems to be working. Where did the one I print out went? Oh, I'm reading the fine print. There does also exist a printer that will steal essays from people who stole them from people who wrote them.
I mean,
across the multiverse.
Feels reasonable.
That feels reasonable. I mean, I read the first paragraph before it went, so I know where to start now, at least.
Okay, well...
That's something, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Good luck next to me who stole it. Hopefully you get further than the paragraph in.
Cool, I will let you get on with the essay, because that's the...
Well, I have
100,000
I have to start now. That's
Okay.
That's more than I had before I stole it from better motivated me, so...
Okay, well, let me know when you're done and we'll get on with the rest of the podcast. Inside the boardroom of Supremacy Software.
Hi. So, you know that other company that makes games.
Yeah,
and,
they won't even let us
stuff.
buy them out.
I know the one with the green logo and the console and whatever.
Yeah.
You know they got
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah. You got that. They got that streaming that subscription service where you get a bunch of games and and for a relatively small amount of money.
Small amount of money, you don't own the games,
Yeah,
but
but,
you get access to the
You get to
games.
play all the new ones the day they come out. And
Yeah.
you know how we try to, set up a competitor and...
with all the loot boxes.
The one where, it isn't as good and it's the same price and you don't get all the day one games and, look, let's be honest, we made current...
And we have found ways of, monetizing it even
we
more.
made the shit version of their one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... We made the shit version of their one, and that is having the impact of some people are going to theirs and not ours, and
What?
I know, right? I know. And I've been trying to think of creative solutions for fixing this problem. Because, the obvious answer would be spend more money, to get more games on our server so ours is better. But,
Right.
That's just what they expect. That's, they probably got a contingency plan for that. So,
Yeah.
I've been blue sky thinking.
Right.
What if we
Mm-hmm.
paid money to developers to not put their games on the other service? What if we paid to make the other servers shittier?
Right, and they'll put their games on our service, or?
I mean, question mark, maybe. We're not paying them to do that. We're paying them not to give them to them.
Okay.
Because, like, look, look, making a good service is hard. Sabotaging someone else's good service, I reckon, might be easier.
You are a fucking genius.
I know.
So, what have you been in your ears?
Oh, not very much this week.
Yeah, also not very
It's
much.
been a very light listen week. It's largely been a week of listening to music I've already listened to in the past, but I happen to like. Yeah.
What?
Time for this. Right. So, we're running out of things to put on the front of the newspapers.
Right,
Occasionally happens.
have we blamed the migrants for anything this week?
No. Well, we blamed the migrants for everything this week. We blamed the poor for everything, and
The weather.
we blamed the weather for everything.
Have we whined about Diana?
Oh no, we've already done that more than our allotted number of times. I think it must be time that we must do some complaining about other things that are the trans' fault again.
Oh, I love ripping on the trans.
Oh, it's
I
wonderful.
try and do it at least 4 times a day.
Exactly. What abstract things can we blame on the transes this week?
They are taking all of the board games. There's no board games for anyone else. They've got them all.
Oh, I see. Well, I heard that the rail strikes are actually because trans people.
I mean, makes
you
sense.
can't get your train right now. It's not
Makes
because of
sense.
workers' rights. It's because
you know
trans.
how those transes love the trains.
Trans on trains,
Trains,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Trans on trains is you blame the transes for the strikes.
Well, then of course, I suppose while we're on the subject of strikes, what about the nurses' pay? They've been eating all the nurses' pay.
What? They've been literally eating it, shoveling handfuls of money into the trans' mouths, and that's why the nurses can't be
Depriving the
paid.
NHS.
Oh, we can't pay the nurses.
Yep.
The transes ate it all.
They made a money ragout and they've eaten all of the money. There's no money left for anyone. So next time you're thinking about poor student nurses and their loans and their debts and all that, that's all gone.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, you know, I've never seen a unicorn in real life. It's because the transes killed them all off.
Hunted them down
Hunted them
for
to
their
extinction.
horns. Right,
Exactly.
yeah.
Hunted them down for horns for
Yes.
probably for the trans men to use
Probably
down there or something.
Well, I mean, what better fallow than a
Unicorn, but that's why all the unicorns are dead now, you see.
Yeah, well, yes, of course. Well, I mean, that seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Indeed, I reckon we run that on the front page of the paper tomorrow and everyone will eat it up.
Absolutely. The energy crisis. What about that?
Oh, the energy crisis. The transition machines use a lot of energy, and being trans requires you to be plugged into a wall to power your transness, and that's the cause of the energy crisis.
I mean, there are all this streaming and the cat girl stuff.
Oh, yes.
It's got to require a lot
Cat-ear
of energy.
headphones use so much energy, that's the reason for the crisis.
And all that RGB.
Oh, goodness, it's
gotta be the
burning the
transit,
planet
yes,
alive,
yes.
you see.
Well, I was on the subject of burning the planet alive. What about the reason for climate change? Hot flushes.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
Yes.
They're having to stop their hormones before surgery,
And
that's causing hot flashes, and that's what's causing the temperature to rise.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to do with the fossil
Wonderful.
fuel
I reckon that this lot of stories will last us, until the end of the week, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tuesday now. I think we'll probably need some more by about Wednesday lunchtime.
Well, I'll always take an opportunity to do more blaming things on the trans.
Twiddle's moustache.
Hi there. Are you having trouble with your straight mono relationship? Take advice from me, a polyamorous queer in a successful marriage, and try honest communication about your feelings. I know, you've spent years just talking about the old ball and chain, or just slagging your partner off to your friends down the pub. But honestly, that's not helping, and it's certainly not healthy.
No balls, no chains. Okay, maybe some chains.
Do you know what I want to see more of?
What do you want to see more of?
Brochure Justice Warriors.
Social justice warriors?
Yeah.
All right, Larry.
Well, Barry, how you doing?
Oh, mate, the heat is still getting to me. I am not built for this weather.
I'm not built for this on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
You know, a couple of odd days, but when it drags on, it gets a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I exist ideally between 21.5 and 22.5 degrees
Honestly,
at all times.
yeah,
and
you know,
it's-
like
it's been
25.
far higher
The
than
25 is like that's on the hot end. You start going above that for a couple of weeks, and I'm like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
lot. Ugh. Well, I've been thinking about things
Yeah,
this week.
what have you been thinking about, mate?
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about the choices people try and make to try and be ethical, and now you know, and how that's sort of different depending on where you're coming from as a person.
Yeah, you know,
what
find
is
a reasonable energy supply and that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's like you know, there's a lot of things that in an ideal world, you know, I would do, and there's a lot of things that I personally do because I'm like, you know, I've got my moral line that I can have around certain things. You know, I want, you know, a good
There
example.
is no ethical consumption under capitalism. You know, we do have to survive, and also don't be an arsehole as much as possible.
But it's like, you know, there are some things where it's like I'm in a bit more of a position to make some of those choices than other people. It's important not to judge other people who can't make the choices you can.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like, you know, a lot of people, understandably, very anti-Amazon.
Yeah.
But for people who are, you know, not able to get out of the house very often, or even at all, you know, having that level of diversity of product delivered straight to your door, sometimes within 24 hours, you know, that is a lifesaver, I imagine,
Exactly.
for a lot of people in that sort of situation.
Yeah, Amazon's a good example because like you've got a lot of disabled people who maybe can't go out and get those things that can get them delivered to them. On an urgent sort of timeline basis. You've often got things like people who are working throughout the hours that shops would be available, and then childcaring outside of that, or people in various financial situations who rely on Amazon's monopoly to actually be able to afford things in some cases, and you know. Those are all things where I'm like, you know, I would not. I try and avoid Amazon where I can, but also, you know, sometimes needs must, and you know, it's important to not be hardline about people's needs and go like, yeah, look, if someone is doing something more frequently than you that you think is unethical, bear in mind their situation might be different.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, we try and do our best.
Yeah.
You know, you advise other people about things. You know, maybe if they aren't aware of a certain situation, by all means. But you know, don't get preachy, and you know, don't chastise someone who has no other option.
Like, is one I think about a lot. Is you know, I try not to buy Ubisoft video games because they got some pretty shitty stuff going on with their company, some pretty abusive stuff, and you know, I'm in a position where there are a lot of video games I can play that they do not produce, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I also know that they are one of the best accessibility companies in video games right now.
Yeah, and I've heard good stuff they've been doing a lot recently.
Yeah, they're up there with Sony being like one of the better, more consistent AAA ones in that space. And like, I don't blame any disabled person whose specific disabilities limit the range of games they can play, who goes, you know what? Ubisoft is one of like two companies whose games I can play.
Yeah.
They're bad company, but I want to be able to play someone's video games, and they're at least catering to my disability, for example.
You know, I have, say, a very limited amount of media I can consume as a result of a certain disability. You know, maybe don't be quite so preachy about someone who only has that option.
Exactly.
Ultimately, it's not them that you have the problem with, it's the company, so maybe punch up.
That's the thing I think at the end of the day I'm trying to get across is like, you know, make the ethical choices where you can, but also have some understanding for the fact that, like, sometimes groups of people, often disabled people or poor people, will be in positions where they are not in the position to, you know, spend the more money on the more ethically sourced food, or you know, shop with a company that treats its workers better, and you know, bear those situations in mind and be angry at capitalism. Don't be angry at the people who are forced into, you know, dealing with shitty companies because they're the ones they can deal with.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely get this a lot in veganism, especially with, you know, white middle class people. Let's be honest. You know, they're going, oh, well, you know, simply must eat the organic. It must be this. It must be that. It must be the other. It's like, listen, if I ate like that, I could maybe afford one meal a month. And as it is, I'm pushing to spend, you know, to make my money go as far as possible. given how much
Yeah.
how expensive everything else is.
I mean, on the vegan front, sometimes it's even just a matter of the vegan meat alternatives are more expensive than the cheap version in the cheapy meat version.
Yeah.
And if I want to keep my family fed, sometimes that's just not an option to make. And it's
At my poorest, I could make a bag of 24 crisps that cost me £1 last a week.
Yeah.
That might be everything I could eat.
Yeah.
But people would just be like, fat bastard, eating crisps again, is it? Yeah, all right. It's
Yeah.
like, but, sometimes the cheapest, the least good, the least nutritionally, valuable,
least ethically done stuff.
Are the things that are available and are affordable
Yeah.
to people in those sort of circumstances.
That's the thing. Just be aware of other people's circumstances and the privilege that sometimes is being able to make the ethical choices.
Yeah, absolutely. Hug, mate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good hug, mate.
Good hug.
Right, I'm gonna go for a bit of a lie down.
Yeah, same, honestly, I think.
Aye. So, Laura,
Yes?
you're gonna have a book any minute now.
I mean, yeah, by the time that people hear this, it might be out already or not,
Got-
depending on when
got
you
the
hear
tum
it.
tum.
Yeah,
The
it's...
tum tum's there. The book is in.
The book
and-
baby is
and
ready.
The book baby is
It's
ready to hatch.
imminent.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
babies
what about-
hatch?
Yeah.
You put your hand on my stomach as if I was going to give birth and
Yeah.
then describe them hatching.
Yeah.
That's how books work.
That's how books work.
How books
They
work.
hatch out of your tum-tum.
You give birth to an egg that hatch.
Yeah, when two lesbians love each other very much and one of them's really creative and smart and good and funny and talented.
Me and My Dysphoria Monster, it's out August 18th, which might be in the past if you're listening to this when it goes up for everyone, or slightly in the future if you're listening to it early access on Jane's Patreon.
Yeah.
Me and My Dysphoria Monster, it's an illustrated children's book that talks about dysphoria through a sort of child-appropriate lens, that tries to give a sort of positive, hopeful outlook while giving language for something that can be quite difficult to verbalise when you're young.
It's adorable and beautiful and beautifully illustrated and you did good words in it and it has a little explainer for adults in the back.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. By the time you hear this, there's a very good chance it will be out August 18th. You might just be able to go into a bookshop and find it.
Go and get it, it's great.
We get it wherever the books happen to be. It'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of this one. It's got pictures in it and everything.
It does, and those pictures are
Yeah, I
beautiful.
like those pictures. What about you? Where are you at on the internet?
Me? Well,
Yeah.
we've done a book together.
We have.
We did a different book.
What's that?
It's called Who Hunts the Whale, and it's basically what if Supremacy Software, but someone was working at Supremacy Software, and as we all know, Supremacy Software is horrible. But what if that person didn't know that when they started there, and now they're trying to seek justice?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just very scared of all the horror.
I mean,
But also, maybe
both can
justice.
be true.
They can be, and all the quirky and wonderful people they meet that aren't in that boardroom.
Yeah, I love those characters. We've got some wonderful characters.
And they've got names.
Yeah.
You might not know that if you only listen to this podcast.
Yeah, there are named characters.
There are lots of named characters in this
Yeah.
because they made us give characters names.
Characters needed names, apparently. Oh.
Yeah, and also, if you are listening to this, you might just have a nanosecond of time to get your name in the book.
Yeah, if you
You
want
can
to...
pre-order it over at unbound.com/books/whale,
Yeah.
or there'll be a link in the description with a better, more accurate link.
Yeah.
And you can get your name in the book. You can get all sorts of cool swag. Smudge could nuzzle the microphone stand. Hey, yeah, baby. You can get your name in the book. This is your last chance to do it.
You've got until
chance for that closes on the
August
21st.
21st, yeah. So if you want your name in the back of every copy of that book that's ever sold,
Right?
you can do that by pledging your support and getting a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I'm at patreon.com/stonedmonkeyradio. Please send me your $1. $1 is really life-changing, especially if
Give me
a
a
bunch of you...
dollar is what I need.
$1 is all I need. Yeah. and especially if they happen to be dollars, because the exchange rate is pretty weak right now. So
It's practically fucking 1-to-1 right now.
it is, right?
Whoops.
Yeah. So if you happen to be somewhere where the dollar is good, you could support me for less than it might usually be, and I would still be able to pay my web hosting bills, which are coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. I should really write more things on that website, which is stonemonkeyradio.blog. Check it out if you want some reviews of board games that I have done a year or so ago.
Yeah.
I made some music under the name Bedroom Programmer.
Yes, you do.
You can check that out. Also, janiac.redbubble.com, because you can get t-shirts that I have designed, such as the Neurospicy chart.
Oh, you
How
want the
Neurospicy are you?
the spicy
Nando Spice chart.
Yeah, the Nando Spice chart, but for brain spice.
But for how spicy that
How spicy that
neurodiversity.
neurodiversity, though.
Right. You could get a very relatable horse, which may or may not be related to Who Hunts the Whale.
Very
I
relatable
couldn't
horse.
possibly say.
Ooh.
I think that's everything. So, Laura,
Yeah.
you sing us out, please, darling.
Until next time, be a stranger. I like the thought that the way you get into the flop verse is just where you're standing, you just commit to flopping.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Oh.
It's like, oh god, oh god, oh god, I can feel the tension rising. There's not even anyone that close to me, but already,
I read that while you were out shopping and was like, I wonder what the chances are that you are having a bad time at the shops. I didn't know whether it was appropriate to message you and go, I hope the shops are okay.
I hadn't even got to the shops. I was just like, oh god.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that would draw attention to it if I messaged you going, having a rough time, huh? You're shit. I was like, could be funny, could be not.
I'd managed to get over it by the time I managed to write it down. So.
Yeah, okay.
It's like, take it easy, breathe. Think you're gonna turn it into a skit. It's gonna be great content.
The content creator's way. I'm having a terrible time, but it's going to make for great content. Magnetize your suffering.
Right. Isn't that what all creatives do?